Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve Dean Williams here, themanmindset.com. So you're at the store or you're walking down the street and you see a woman that you're interested in. You put your bid in and guess what? Things don't work out the way you want them to be. Well, on today's show, I'm going to explain to you why the fear of winning is better than the fear of rejection. Let's do this. Hey guys, how you doing? Steve Dean Williams, themanmindset.com. Before we start this thing, I want to say first off, thank you to all my chat room dogs out there, those that like and subscribe. Please go ahead and leave a comment. And if I get a chance to say something, I definitely will. But I want to say thank you to everybody that's listening to the show. Now let's get into it. So many times we get a lot of information, but what I want to do, and I always love to do for over 30 years, is make sure I give you something that no one else talks about, because the game comes from original street than theory. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the rejection of winning. You see, gentlemen, I don't go out my door looking to lose because I'm always evolving as a man. And the one thing I know for sure when I meet a woman for the first time is that she's allowed to say no. She's allowed to reject me. She's allowed to say I have a boyfriend, I'm living with somebody, or she's even allowed to say she's not interested, or just walk away from me. She's allowed to do that. But is that really a rejection, or is that just a choice she made? You see, gentlemen, you can't really knock yourself for standing on your square and put your bid in. And that's one thing I'm always doing, is put my bid in. I always want to make sure that I always look to me and put my bid in on what I know more about me versus the woman. And you see, when I put my bid in, whether she says yes or whether she says no, really and truly isn't any of my business, because I'm just going to position myself the best way I can. So if she says no, and if she seems like she wants to walk away after the second no, after I give her this option of taking my card and everything, she says no, I just got to accept that and keep moving on and really be proud of myself for doing the thing that I set out that I wanted to do. But with that being said, it's not the rejection that hurts a lot of you guys. It's the fact that you don't look to yourself to win. You see, the rejection of women to me is something more important because of the expectations I set for myself. See, I don't mind losing. And again, losing is nothing to do with me because that's back there. That's in the past. That has nothing to do with who I am today. So one thing I always do is I stress to myself, I'm harder on myself when I win versus when I lose. Because even when I win, I'm not satisfied enough, because I always, every single day, have to go back and look at the film. And why would I look at film that's not even that's going to hit the floor as far as the rejection? I don't even need to look at the rejections because that has nothing to do with me. She has every right to say no. She has every right to walk away. But when she says yes, why am I harder on myself? Because you see, as a man, I set a high expectation for myself. You see, getting a woman is not a big deal to me because it's an expectation that I set for myself. But where the hardness comes in at, as far as the rejection of women is how I got the woman. See, I'm never going to be satisfied with how I got a woman because in my mind, I know I could do it better. And one thing I always do that most guys don't even understand is as soon as I meet the woman, I'm always putting the bet on me. I always bet on me. And I bet to make sure that what I do is much faster and quicker than the next time. Because remember, guys, I'm only me for 23 hours and 59 minutes, where I always evolve. So who I am today is definitely not who I am tomorrow. But what I want to make sure, even though in victory, that I'm able to carry over things from today into tomorrow that's also going to add on to how I evolve. You see, I look over the film of me to see what I could do better for the same kind of woman. I've always told you women are like music. So example is if she's a pop or rock, let's just say she's a blues woman, and I pull her and I put my bid in, she's down, she takes my phone number. It is at this point in this process where I'm not jumping up for joy, because again, it's an expectation. I expect her to go ahead and get at me because I have a lot to offer her than the average guy, and you should be thinking that way too. But where the rejection of winning comes in at is that I feel like I could have done it better. And that's why I go over the film in my head to see where I went wrong. Because as soon as I see a woman, I don't think about her body. I don't think about how good she looks. I don't even think about the sex. The very first thing that I think about, or I challenge myself, is I bet on me. How fast can I get this woman? And once I set that expectation, if I don't reach that expectation, which 9 times out of 10 I'm not going to reach because it's going to force me to look more into myself, even if she takes my information and we move on, I'm not going to be satisfied with that, because I'm always going to go back and look at the film. What could I have done better versus that other moment that I had with her? And see, the rejection of winning is something every man should start looking towards. You should be proud of yourself to get rejected, because a man that puts his bid in, who stands on who he is, has nothing to worry about at the end of the day. She's allowed to say no. She's allowed to reject you. So why should you care? But what I care about is the victory. I'm never satisfied with the win, because I know I could have done something better if I would have just made an adjustment here versus there, because you should be your hardest critic. You should be the one always focusing on the rejection of the win versus the loss. The more you focus on the rejection of the win, the better you're going to be, because every day that you evolve, you're learning new things about yourself by taking the time the day before and reevaluating what you did versus what you didn't do. What could I do better versus, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, she rejected me. I don't care about the rejections, because rejections don't matter to me. What I care about is the wins. You gotta be harder on yourself, because the expectation that you have for yourself has got to be better than the expectations that you have right now, or the expectations that you had yesterday. Because when I go into the next day, I'm evolving to a brand new me. So the expectations are that much higher. I can't sit around and wallow in a woman that's not interested in me. Really and truly, that's really none of my business. But what I can do is I can focus on the victories. You know what? You're going to have a lot of losses, but they're not even losses, because you don't lose when you approach a woman and do the thing that you want to do. Where you lose at is if you want to do something and you don't do it. That's where you lose. But because you go after what you want as a man mindset man and know what you want, don't be happy if she gives you information. Don't be excited if she wants to talk to you, because that's something that should be an expectation of who you are. But what's very important is going back and looking at the film. Going back in your mind and playing it over in your head and thinking about the adjustments you can make the next time you meet a woman like that. Not all women, because remember, all women are different. But the thing that makes you the same is that you're a man. You're going to be a man mindset man, regardless of the seconds are going to change to minutes. The minutes are going to change to hours. The hours are going to change to days. The days to weeks. Weeks to months. Months to years. And also you have summer, spring, winter, and fall, but you still remain the same, because as a man, I'm looking to build my kingdom. I'm not looking to destroy it because somebody doesn't give me something that I want. I want to build my kingdom for me and my specifications, but I'm never satisfied for the victory. That's why it's important, guys, from right now, it's time to make that change. Start looking for the rejection of winning versus the rejection of learning. You're always going to learn if she says no or she has someone else. But the one thing we don't do is that we don't ever go back and look at the film of how we won and look back and see what are the little adjustments that we can make to do it better next time. And every day should be like that. That's how you evolve as a man, by making the certain changes. That's what we want you to do. Make the certain changes. When you make the certain changes and you look towards winning, the rejection of winning versus the rejection of loss, It is going to help you evolve. I don't want you to be the same guy you are today. You should be a brand new you tomorrow by working and tweaking you every single day. Never be satisfied for the wins. Look for the rejection of winning, where you can see what you could do better the next time versus worrying about something that you can't change. You know, you can't change the past. It's that way. It's behind you. You can't change her being interested in you if she's not interested in you. You can't change her wanting you if she's married. I mean, she's got that right. She's got that choice. But the one thing I can change is when I do win. And I know I can do better than I am today, because who I was yesterday is not who I am today. And who I am today will never be who I'm going to be tomorrow. And when you think more like that and you focus more on the rejection of winning, gentlemen, you're going to win. And how do you do that? Let's get to a solution real quick. Let's hit the solution. In order to begin the process of the rejection of winning, you've got to be able to begin the process of building your square and standing on what it is you stand on. And the more you stand on what it is you stand on, you're not going to feel as bad as you would if you don't stand on anything. You know, the funny thing about a lot of you guys is when you go get some cereal, because we've all done this, when you get cereal, maybe the spoons, there you have no spoons, or maybe you have no bowls, or maybe there's a little bit of cereal, or the milk is no good and you don't have any milk. Those all things can be considered as rejections, but it's what you do in that moment that's going to make a change for your life, because you're always trying to be solution based and not look at the negatives of the game. As men, we don't look to the negatives. We always look to the future. We always look to ourselves. And the only way to do that is to what? When you see a woman online, the first thing I want you to begin is start to make a bet with yourself. Start communicating with yourself. This is why I tell you to do the puzzle pieces. Start communicating with yourself. Bet on yourself. Ask you, how many moves is it going to take to get this woman? And make the bet with yourself. And even if you win, learn, or draw, you can go back and look at the film and see what you did right versus what you did wrong. Because every woman is different. And just because she's online doesn't mean she has a different personality. But the one thing that's important, regardless of the personality of the woman, how old the woman is, and how the woman thinks, as a man, we're always going to stay the same, because as a man, we're always going to evolve. And that's how you begin to do that. So with that being said, gentlemen, at the end of the day, let's not worry about the rejection of losing. Let's start focusing on the rejection of winning, because that's what men do. Because every day you should be evolving to be a better man and a new man. And with that being said, guys, thank you for your time. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. I'm the Dean, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Remember, guys, the rejection of winning is the most important thing.